What's going on, everyone? This is the Dent Digest show. I'm Alex Kukulis, and this is Amanda from
Christensen.
Amanda Christensen from.
He was scared he messed up.
Yes, I was. So she's a CPA, and
I'm not a CPA.
You're not?
No, I'm not a CPA.
An accountant.
So, words.
Words.
CPA is certified accountant. I am a bookkeeper, but I also own a dent company with my husband.
Okay.
So I learned to do all the bookkeeping, and it was a hard path. So I see all these other guys having that problem and messing up their relationship with their wives. So
it can get real bad.
it can. Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, my husband and I have had our times where I'm like, are you freaking kidding me?
I know a lot of dent guys that like just didn't even file. They didn't know when they first started.
Right.
You know, you can get in big trouble for that.
Yeah. If you start an LLC, and even if you don't file or don't make any money, you have to file. And a lot of people don't know that because they don't know the business side of things.
Yep.
So
I do have a CPA. That's why
you did. That's why Ryan was.
That's why my brother-in-law owns an aviation company, and he hooked me up.
Yeah.
I didn't have to worry about anything. You know?
Right. And so we have a CPA that we affiliate with, but mostly what we do is all the bookkeeping that will get it to the CPA. Okay. So if you have your CPA, that's cool.
Okay,
if you trained your CPA to understand your business, totally cool. We do everything, taking it from, say, Mobile Tech RX. We'll export it to QuickBooks. Yep. And then we'll do everything through your Mobile Tech. So if you process the payment through Mobile Tech, you mean a check, cash, credit card, all that comes over to QuickBooks, and we take care of that. And then all of your expenses, if you don't know what they're supposed to be or where you're supposed to categorize them, you don't have to worry about it. That's what we know how to do. So
I know a little bit about, because I talk to this accountant all the time, and a buddy of mine was like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy this truck and lease it to myself." I want to do that, and I'm gonna talk to my accountant.
He's like, "No,
you cannot do that." I was like, "Thank God for you."
Yeah, I mean, you can do it like not with a truck, but like a property. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, we do it too, where we have an LLC that owns the property. Okay. And because you can only write off your interest, so but you can fully write off all. And then you depreciate the property. So I mean, you get that, but if you rent it to your other company, that company gets to write off all the rent. Okay. So a lot of people do that. And and a good CPA will tell you, hey, you might want to consider doing this. Yeah. So, things like that. Having a good CPA, we've got a couple of really good CPAs that we work with. And then, our company uses our CPA. And, we like that too, because we get more information. The more good CPAs we're working with, the more information we get about how they, more perspective on how it's done. So
I feel really good having him. When I was 21, I got into this at 19, and when I was 21, I didn't have an LLC or nothing, and I went to H&R Block. Yeah. And I got no write-offs, and I didn't make much money, so I didn't expect a whole lot. Yeah. And I owed way more than I thought because I didn't write anything off.
Right. And they weren't taking advantage of any tax laws that would benefit you.
$500 to file my taxes. But they did not help me in any way. And so I had to deal with the IRS and pay that off for a year.
Time. Yeah.
It took me a year to pay it off, and everything was fine. I filed. That was the most important thing.
That was the most important thing, yeah. And I'll tell you, I mean, when I first started doing this, it terrified me. I was like, what if I screw up? What if I go, I'm going to get penalties and stuff. And I did. I did screw up. I did have penalties. I learned from that. And then my sister, she moved back to our home state, and she started a bookstore. And she's like, "Hey, you're doing the books for your business, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She says, "Can you do the books for mine?" I was like, "I'll try." I'm like, no guarantees here.
Yeah.
And so I started doing her books, and then I had a friend with the masonry company. He's like, "Hey, can you do my books?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll get you fixed up." And he had a bookkeeper that was stealing from him, and which that can happen. And so
CPA can do that too.
CPA can do it too. They're under stricter laws.
Yeah.
But yeah. And so I started doing all these books, and I did learn a lot. And I would not say by any means that I am an excellent bookkeeper.
Yeah.
And so as our dent business got busier, I was like, I don't have time to do all of this. I do estimating, I deal with the insurance companies, I deal with the customers, and I was like, I can't do the books too, By the time you do all the supplements and you do,
it's like doing 3 jobs.
Yeah, I was doing a lot of jobs. So I was like, okay, so I was like, I'm going to teach our CPA how to do it, because she works from home for, I think, John Deere, and
Okay.
so, but she's a CPA, and she's like, I'm taking on clients to do their stuff. And I talked to her about it. I'm like, "Hey, would you be interested in doing my book?" She's like, "Yeah." She didn't really understand QuickBooks, so I'm teaching her QuickBooks. And after about a year, we're like, "This isn't working."
Yeah.
She's like, "No, CPA understanding of books and QuickBooks, it's like another language to her."
Mm-hmm.
And so I had Shane Jackson, Brandon Birch, were helping us with some hailstorms. And I was talking to Brandon about it, and I was like, what we really need to do is start a company where we do books just for PDR guys, because it's hard. It's a hard business to understand for a CPA or a bookkeeper. It's kind of a weird business. And, what can you really write that off? Is that all right? Is that legit? And he was like,
that's very true.
Yeah, and we don't know, because we're, as a dent company, we're not tax people.
I bought a razor, Turbo S razor, and all my dent friends in Arizona are like, "Write it off. I'm not going to do that."
Right.
And they all thought I was crazy, but I don't want. My dad owned a body shop, and then everyone in my family's owned a business. And, I've seen a couple of them get in trouble. I don't want.
Right. Right. Our big thing was, I recognized we had a friend that we were kind of mentoring and helping him figure out how to get into doing dents. And then he wanted to come work for us, and then found out that he and his family were moving. And he's like, "So I really want to start a business where we're moving to." I'm like, "Okay." And he's like, "How do I do that?" And I was like, "Okay, here's the steps." And he's like, "I wish there was something that taught you that." And I'm like, "Okay, well, Corey's doing some stuff, So I kind of referred him to that. And then he's like, "I need bookkeeping advice." And that kind of got me thinking about it. And so he's like, "How do I set up my QuickBooks? And what accounts do I need to do? Can I do this? Can I do that?" And I was like, "You need a CPA." So I actually have a business degree. It was probably kind of a waste of money, but I've learned more just by doing. But the most important thing I learned for all that money was that you need 3 people when you have a business, and it's an accountant, a banker, and an insurance guy.
Yep.
Good ones.
An insurance broker.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so,
I got a good one. Her name's Cheryl.
That's a funny name. No, just kidding. So, yeah, I mean, and it's true. Those are the 3 people you really need. And a bookkeeper, accountant is kind of, it's getting you.
You could do my books and then make it to where my CPA can understand it.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So it's all uniform. It's going to be the same. It's going to. So
what I'm doing is every year I go to my CPA, and I have to. It takes a long time because I have to go in and go through everything.
Yes.
And I have to tell them what is this and what is that. And I know I'm being taken care of, but it just takes so much time.
And it takes a little bit more money.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like you're spending time training your CPA how to do it. And some guys are just like, "Here's my shoebox,
Yeah.
Here you go." And these CPAs like, "Oh man,
Yeah. I've pay my CPA every month. And it's not as cheap as I thought, you know.
No, it's not. But you do get what you pay for.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, he's very
So-
good. So I'm like his poorest client. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he
It's all right. I do that all the time. I saw a squirrel the other day out there in the atrium, and I was like, "Oh, it's my spirit animal," because I'm totally like squirrel. So yeah, but yeah, we saw that there's a need for that. People really don't know how to do business.
no.
They know how to do dents. They don't know how to do business. And I was telling some of the guys yesterday on the podcast that I'm a nerd. I'm a total nerd. I love books and I love audiobooks. And one of my favorites, and I revisit it every year, and I have the hard copy of it, which I don't keep a lot of business books in hard copy, but this one, every year I review it, is Michael Gerber's The E-Myth Revisited. And the E-Myth is an entrepreneurial myth. And he says that people have entrepreneurial seizures, which cracks me up. I'm like, that is, because you're like, I can just start my own business.
Yeah.
How many PDR techs did that? Most everybody.
Well, and then they
know,
and then they get busy,
and then
they
they're
have
like,
to do
oh
3
my
jobs
God.
like you were saying,
Yeah.
and it all crumbles.
Yeah. So he's like, there's the technician, which is the person that does the work of the business. And then there's people that work in the business and on the business.
Yeah.
And so, you have your technician, your entrepreneur, and your manager. And he said a lot of people, when they start their own business, that is their, they're all 3 of those people.
I am all 3 of those people.
We're all 3 of those people, And so after a while, you're like, I don't want to be all 3 of those people.
Yeah.
I don't want to be. I just want to be the technician. I like putting my headphones on. I like pushing the dents. I don't want to do anything else. I don't want to talk to customers. I don't want to talk to insurance people. I don't want to talk to CPA. I don't want to enter stuff in the books, and it's legitimate. I mean, you should be able to just concentrate on doing your job in order to do the best job you can.
Yeah.
And so this is where we come in, and we're going to be that technician. I likened it to being the R&I guy. So you're in a hailstorm and you love pushing dents.
Yeah.
And you hate breaking clips. You hate breaking parts because you don't know how to get stuff taken apart. That's what we do. We keep your books, just like the R&I guy keeps from breaking all the clips and messing stuff up and losing parts, I
think that's very needed in our industry.
Yeah. And, just like the estimating companies, they came in and really legitimized our industry. Right. Regardless of what estimating system it is, they legitimized it. We had a format. It wasn't the handwritten invoice that we, with 3 copies that we all started with, well, older dent companies started with,
I started with paper invoicing. I started in 2008. So
yeah. Oh, totally.
There was no.
Yes, we were just let you know.
I was always told you have to keep it for 7 years. So
exactly.
Which
is correct.
If you're doing 400 cars a month.
Oh my God, that's a lot of paper.
The 1,000 cars a month.
Yeah.
Who you're working with.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, and so
you're gonna have to have an extra room just for.
I know that's a lot of anchor boxes, and so I mean, so they legitimized. So when you send something off to the insurance company, you're not faxing a copy of an estimate, and you're electronically doing it. And they, we were a little behind compared to the conventional repair, but not a whole lot. I mean, honestly, I was in conventional repair for a while before my husband kind of restarted his dent business, and he was managing a conventional shop. And so we were both managing different shops and got a really good feel for insurance companies. I mean, it wasn't a new thing for me in PDR. So when I had to go kind of backwards and start sending them paper copies, I'm like, this looks bad. You know, but of course you can't afford CCC1 when you're starting out.
I mean, just for one person, it's like 600
Yeah,
something.
yeah. And so it's not, I mean, we have it now, but I mean, I think we started this business in 2014, and he'd been doing dents since like 99 or something. Yeah. But we like restarted everything in 14, and I was like, this is ridiculous that I'm using paper. And I was like, I feel really dumb, because that was about that time was when a lot of the insurance companies were getting their own portal and, you know, really figuring out how to do things electronically.
Yeah.
And so, you know, a couple years later, here comes, you know, the estimating systems. And it was like, oh my gosh, this makes us look a lot more professional.
Mobile Tech
is what we use.
Yeah.
And
I bought it like that.
We did, and it, you know, it's funny because everybody complains about the price and everything, and it's like, how many cars do you do, and then how many cars do you have to do to make that subscription? Yeah, you know, and it pays for itself, and that's kind of what we're going for too. I mean, how many cars would you have to do to pay for our services, and how much time can you spend with your family or your friends at MTE, you know, going to tech meetups, going to continuing education, because you're not sitting there stressing, pulling your hair out, trying to get your books caught up, you know. When I
first started it, I had a guy that worked with me, and it was like $110 a month from the very beginning. And I know it's gone up in price. I haven't even looked at it. I'm just going to use it, right?
Right.
I see it when I file my taxes, but it's worth every penny.
It is worth every penny. And it just, to take that stress off of you as a business owner. Yeah. And I think the other thing that estimating systems and what we hope to do too is give people more confidence. And I mean, we all have head trash, no matter what we do. We have head trash about it. And so we're like, okay, you know, I know I'm a good tech. I know I can fix a car. I know I can glass that panel, but I don't know if I can charge that much for it. You know,
it's a confidence thing.
And then, you know, even with MTRX, well, then you got Matt Morse, or not Matt, Michael's. You know, stuff where you've got, you got Detonate, but then you have the pricing guides. You've got all that stuff. And that makes you go, oh, yeah, the system says I can charge that much, you know? And even then we question ourselves, you know? I know that when I do estimating, I'll be like, hey, I can, you know, I kind of use it as a sales tool where I'm like, okay, my system, which lends legitimacy to us to the customer too, my system says this 4-inch dent that you thought was golf ball size. Because we all experience that. You know, that 4-inch dent, it says that should cost this much money. And they're like, oh, okay. It helps get rid of our head trash. And when we can go to bed at night and know that our books are taken care of, our estimating needs are taken care of, you know, our insurance claims are taken care of.
The stress level, you'll actually get some sleep.
You'll get some sleep. I mean, because I mean, I don't know how many times I've woken up freaking out about, oh my God, I didn't do this right in the books. You know,
when I had picked up this really big Toyota store. Big, they sell 1,000 used cars a month. Used and new.
Yep.
Right. And I was so stressed because I was the second guy forever.
Right.
And then I was the only guy. I was so stressed that I had to go to the doctor because I started having these like knife pains in my stomach.
Yeah.
And they thought I had diverticulitis, but it turns out at the end of it, I took my CAT scan and everything. They're just like,
it's stress.
Are you stressed out? And I was just like, yeah,
I own my own business. Yes, I'm stressed out.
You know, it's crazy. Like, stress is the biggest killer for, like, I'm in my 30s.
Right.
And for guys in their 30s, they have to take care of themselves.
Yeah. You start.
Get help, like,
You're no longer in your 20s.
No, I don't know how bad I'd be stressed if I was in trouble with the IRS.
Oh, trust me,
You
it'd be
know what I mean?
stressing. Yeah. I mean,
That's-
funny, last year I was here at MTE and an IRS agent showed up at our house, which is our place of business too. So my husband's like, what is going on? Why is the IRS showing up at our door?
yeah.
And I don't know anything. My wife's gone, she handles all that. So he gets the card. I can't call the guy until the next afternoon. Trust me, I tried really hard. I'm like, just answer the phone, dude. Answer the phone. And I was dying. I'm like, what did I do wrong? And they were trying to decide if I should have filed a 941 back in 2015.
Wow.
And I was like, wait, you came to my house for that? I mean, like, I lost sleep over that. I cannot even have to look at my books and be able to tell you that we hadn't started taking payroll in 2015.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, that's all I needed to know. And I'm like, why did you not send me a letter? He goes, oh, well, we probably did, but some people ignore those. I'm like, no, I don't ignore those. And so I got home and I looked. I had the letter. They had asked me if I should have filed a 941 in 2015. I document everything, and I'd written on there, replied via, return mail on such and such a date. I had a copy of it. I had everything in there. And I was like, I called the guy back. I'm like, dude, I sent that to you. And he goes, oh, well, we might have lost it. And I was just like, do you have any idea the anxiety you created while I was out of town? I mean, it really freaked me out. And I was like, they're trying to decide whether they should audit us, 7 years.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Ugh.
I watched my dad go through an audit at his body shop. It took 2 years.
Yeah.
He went through everything.
Yeah.
And at the end, I mean, he had his account. And, he only owed like $3,000 and they found it. It's just, I want all my ducks in a row.
Right.
When it comes to this.
Right.
It's
easier to do now than ever before.
Yeah.
Electronically, you can save things. I am still kind of old school in that where I'll print out all my receipts and everything. And I have systems in place where I go through every week and I'm like, any emails that I get that I need to print out as a receipt, I put them in a little folder to print. And then at the end of the week, I print them all. And, it's made me feel, having systems in place really makes me feel a lot more confident. And we can beat that system for someone else. So we have bookkeepers, they do everything remotely and electronically. So, I mean, you can send invoices, a lot of things, like we just hook up bank accounts to QuickBooks and credit cards to QuickBooks, and it comes in and it's really not that uncommon for things to just be recurring and us to be able to just go, I say us, I don't actually do the books myself. That was one of the things I was trying to get somebody else to do our books.
Yeah.
So, so I could create another business because, I needed 3. So
this business is very needed in our industry.
Yeah.
Like, so I can, how do I get in touch with you?
So got one of my cards. So our cards, when you look at them online, they looked great, but Prime Accounting Team, you can actually see, that's Brandon's, I think. You can see our name on that. You can hardly see it in person.
Yep. I see it.
Yeah, it's like holographic. You got to try it. But yeah, he was like, okay, we're going to throw those away after this and get those fixed. But
I was thinking, like, have you guys ever thought of making an app for like everyone that works with you, and then they can just like, all the apps with their seats?
Yeah.
Or
So
like use one of those that
there are, so like Dropbox, even Google Drive, you can use. We really like Dropbox. And it's easy. I mean, you just use your phone, you scan stuff. I mean, or you can scan it if you've got a printer and scanner, whatever you prefer. But a lot of times it's all coming into QuickBooks electronically.
Okay.
And then, the first couple months, we might be in contact with you a little bit more about, hey, what's this? Because we do everybody throughout the country. Our bookkeepers are throughout the country. We're based out of Castle Rock, Colorado. But, I'm near Des Moines, Iowa.
Yeah.
Brandon's in Texas. We got Shane in Greensboro. So, we're everywhere. Shane doesn't do the books, don't worry.
Yeah.
But everybody's it's all virtual, and we can do it for any state, not any country.
Okay.
There's a lot of people
Yeah.
from other countries here, which is I think more than ever before that
Well,
I've ever seen before.
Jonathan with JDF Tools was telling me that he's not allowed to sell his tools here, right? So that's why Kiko
Yeah,
other companies have
or
to sell.
selling them.
And
because he
that was the weirdest thing.
Yeah, because he doesn't have like a sales tax permit
Yeah.
or anything like that. So yeah, there's things like that when you're starting a business that
Yeah.
you learn later, like, oh crap, I was supposed to be collecting sales tax on that,
Yeah.
and you hope they don't catch you, or you got caught and that's how you found out. But I mean, I know a lot of guys that have done that.
Yeah.
They're like, and knowing your state's rules and all that, that's why you have those three people, your attorney and your accountant and your insurance agent. They know these things,
Oh, yeah. The guy that trained me, I don't have to say his name, but he warned me about this from the very beginning.
Yep.
He didn't file 4 years, 5 years.
And he got big fines.
Yeah, and
Big
it stayed
fines.
over his head for
It does.
so.
Yeah, it does. And then
Yeah.
they look at you a little closer after that.
Oh yeah,
All
and
the time.
the more money you make, the
Yeah.
worse it is. And
Yeah. I know
Yeah.
the guy that I did books for, the masonry guy, he
Yeah.
got audited before I started doing his books. And he's like, yeah, I had all my gas receipts and stuff, but I didn't have
the mileage.
mileage. And he had jobs that he was going to, masonry jobs. And the IRS said, you don't get any of those fuel write-offs because you didn't track where you were going. I mean, he got 0 fuel write-off.
That's a
And
lot.
I mean, and you got to do one or the other. It's fuel or mileage.
That's a lot because
And-
I do like 60 miles a day,
Mhm.
Monday through Friday or Monday through Saturday.
Right.
But yeah, once you pick one, you can't.
You can't go back.
Yeah.
I mean, you could if things change legitimately within the business, but you have to have a really good reason. So yeah, I mean, it's just pick what's best and do what works best in your business. And there's things that we can help people figure out in their business. And like Brandon Birch, he is part of Tech One with Shane Jacks,
Okay.
and they go around. That's how I met both of those guys.
Awesome
We had a
dudes.
hailstorm, awesome dudes. I met them. They came and helped us with, I think, 3 storms total. And, so we just sit around and bounce ideas off each other and figure out how we can make things better.
Yeah.
And that's how this came up. And, but just not, I lost track of it too, where I was going with that.
Yeah.
But,
I'm pretty ADD, so it happens.
we are alphabet soup in this industry.
Right.
PDR, OCD, ADD.
I'm just
So-
thinking.
I know.
I'm just thinking. I don't want to do no accounting. That's what I'm
I
going
know.
to call prime accounting team.
I was laughing this morning because I was waiting for the elevator, and I'm like, a hotel is a terrible place for PDR guys because I don't do the PDR,
Yeah.
but I'm terribly OCD.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that telephone there is crooked, and I
Mhm.
really want to go over there and straighten it out. And I'm like, hold yourself back.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
do it because you're going to knock that phone off the ball.
Yeah.
And somebody's going to see you do it. But it cracked me up. I was like, there's so much stuff I want to straighten. And I'm like,
I'm the
don't do
same
it.
way. Like, I had to redo my tile because I hired a guy, my dad's buddy, and the lines were right. I had to redo it.
Yeah.
I
It's
I
like,
started hammering it all up,
yeah. Yeah.
and I redid
cracked
it
me up.
myself.
I was like, I wonder how many of the OCD dent
Yeah,
guys
I think the good guys like Shane Jacks, if you can blend out a dent like him, got to be pretty OCD about
Oh,
certain
yeah.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want no wiggles.
Yeah. No
in my
wiggles.
disc,
No wiggles.
you know?
Shane wiggles himself,
Yeah.
but
So
he's
do I.
always, he drinks too many energy drinks, so he's
Yeah.
like,
What kind?
I don't know what he drinks exactly. I always give him a hard time, like, you need to quit drinking those energy drinks, or we can play footsie there.
I'm sorry.
It's our long legs.
It's
We're
still-
both so long legged. But yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
know about that. Well, 5'7".
I'm joking. I'm short too.
I know.
I'm much shorter than that. But yeah, I mean, this industry is really cool. I
Yeah.
love this industry.
A lot of good people.
And I've just met, I mean, you just kind of keep stepping up and meeting cooler and cooler people all the time. I mean, I met Gene Fetty and I'm part of his 20 group. So I have all these awesome guys in the 20 group with. And through that, I knew Ryan Hampton before that. And so between Gene and Ryan, I met Shane and Brandon. And through them, I met Stacy, who's our other business partner in this. And I mean, it's just so cool to meet these people. And it's so funny because I was kind of, when I got on a call with Gene, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm on a call with Gene Fetty. I'm like, oh my gosh, I was fangirl. This was before he was the Blue Room, so I was like fangirling that I was on a call with Gene. And then he called me and asked me about the 20 group. I'm like, oh my God, but and then, I meet Shane and Brandon and I'm like, oh my God, Shane Jacks is sitting on my back deck eating my rhubarb cobbler, and
Shane Jacks was that for me, like with the
Yeah.
PBR college.
It's like, oh
and
my
the Keith
God.
them. I mean,
And
they're
he's
the
totally-
pioneers of this.
Yeah.
Like,
totally down to earth,
Totally.
normal people. And, I was so nervous about meeting him. And then I was like,
they're super
now
cool.
I give him crap all the time. So I'm like, he showed up to our storm. He blew the engine on his van or on his truck. And he borrowed a van, and it was a total creeper van. I mean, it was like a white van with black bumpers or something. I mean, it was a total creeper van. And he pulls up, and the first thing I did was like, you must be Shane Jacks, the creeper, and it broke
You
the
guys have been
ice.
friends forever.
Yeah, we were friends. So now I see a creeper van, and I take a picture of it. I'm like, you in town, man? So, yeah, I sent him one with a air conditioner on top, and he said, yeah, that's to keep the bodies cool.
Yep. That's funny. I actually
So-
bought one of those 2 years ago, and I drove for like a year, and I had to get rid of
You're
it. I
like-
just couldn't.
You just get
I
the
went back to
looks
it
from
to
people. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so people can reach you at
Yeah. We're primeaccountingteam.com. So we've got banners over at Den Olympics. We've got QR code there.
oh, yeah.
Yesterday I was wearing a backpack with the QR code on it.
Yeah.
But and here, if I get rid of all my notifications here,
Oh, yeah.
I've got the QR code right there on my phone. So if I get it straight,
Yeah, right there.
there we go.
Oh,
Did it do it?
Yeah.
They went off.
tap it.
So yeah. So that is our QR code. And you can click on that. It'll take you to our website and it will give you a little form to fill out so that we can reach back out to you after MTE. So
Well, it's awesome meeting
it
you.
was awesome to meet you too. It was really fun.
Pleasure.
I've had a lot of fun this year at MTE. So, and you get goodies too. So we had stickers. Our best ones are gone. We had freaks in the spreadsheets and push dents, not paper, but they're all gone. So
I'm gonna take these.
and we still got a few water bottles. You know what I mean?
It has
Alcohol
a pretty
spray
strong
bottles.
magnet on it,
It
right?
does, yes.
Don't have to
It'll
worry about
hold.
that one.
That one will hold 4 ounces of alcohol upside down. So.
Wow.
So yeah, got some freebies, and so we got a few parts trays left, little magnetic parts trays.
like
So
that.
yeah,
For all my glue tabs.
is there magnetic?
No, just like you put
I
that on
know.
the. Oh,
I'm teasing you.
okay.
I know we were
I'm
joking.
pretty.
You didn't get my sarcasm. I'm sorry.
It's all right. I'm very sarcastic. Very.
It's my love language.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. This is Dent Digest.
The magnets
Things are
got
falling
put
over.
together.
Oh. and Christensen. Was a pleasure to have you.
It was a pleasure to be on.
So,
I really appreciate it.
yeah, it's fun.
So, and shout out to Kevin Bird, because without him, I wouldn't be here.
That's the guy that takes all the selfies, right?
What did one of the guys called him the leather guy yesterday? I think it was Brandon Schmitz.
Yes.
Called him
Kevin
the
Bird
Leatherman.
is awesome.
I love Kevin.
Right. From now on, he's always going to be the selfie
He is-
guy. to me.
He's the best. He is the best.
He does a lot for this industry.
Yes, he does. Definitely.
A
So
lot.
definitely appreciate it.
All right, guys. We'll see ya.
All right. Bye.